Good morning, and welcome to the First Unitarian Universalist Society of Burlington, Vermont. We humbly acknowledge that our meeting house is on the unceded lands of the Western Abenaki people. I'm Judy Brook, a member of the worship team, and I would like to thank this morning Sam Whitesell and James Stewart for their musical gifts, and Michael Wright for video production. Also a big thank you to all who work behind the scenes to make this Sunday service possible. We are an inclusive congregation, welcoming all to our mission of building beloved community and making meaning in our lives. Although we are apart physically, we are together in spirit. The living tradition we share draws from many sources, including the spiritual teachings of earth-centered traditions which celebrate the sacred circle of life and instruct us to live in harmony with the rhythms of nature. This Sunday, we celebrate the solstice, which occurs tomorrow, Monday at 5:02 a.m. If you wander or drive by the meeting house today between 4:30 and 7 p.m., you will be greeted by our first ever Solstice Light Garden, a display of lights shining in the darkness. I hope to see you there. We're so glad you've come to be with us this morning. If you would like to find out more about our society, please click on the link at the end of this service or find our website. If you would like to light your own chalice, now would be a good time to get a match and it. So come together in this darkest time of the year. Come from the cold into a warm welcome. Come tap into this congregation of caring souls for sympathy, inspiration, and energy. Come bring your own unique gifts to our shared life in this community. Come, let us worship together.
Say the words with me as we light our chalice. We kindle this chalice flame to remind ourselves of the light of truth, the warmth of community, and the fire of commitment. The call to worship on this almost the solstice day is a piece by Susan Cooper called The Shortest Day. So the shortest day came and the year died, and everywhere down the centuries of the snow-white world came people singing, dancing to drive the dark away. They lighted candles in the winter trees. They hung their homes with evergreen. They burned beseeching fires all night long to keep the year alive. And when the New Year's sunshine blazed awake, they shouted, reveling through all the frosty ages. You can hear them echoing behind us. Listen. All the long echoes sing the same delight this shortest day. As promise wakens in the sleeping land, they carol, feast, give thanks, and dearly love their friends and hope for peace. And so do we here, now, this year, and every year. Welcome, Yule.
As we let these words settle into our beings, let us deepen together into a time of meditation. We will begin our meditation by sharing the joys and sorrows of our community. Then we'll hold a brief time of silence. So let's take a deep breath together, breathing in the breath of life, breathing out the breath of peace, and come into the place of holy listening. Let us hear these words of joy and sorrow for this day, the 20th of December, 2020. Concern for all as the pandemic rages. Joy for fresh snow and holiday lights to brighten our landscape. Concern for all those dealing with depression or seasonal affective disorder. May they find help and ways to be in the light. May the joys and sorrows of each be the joys and sorrows of all, reminding us of our shared humanity. As we enter the silence, let us hold that which has been spoken and that which remains unspoken tenderly in our hearts. Amen. Blessed be.
There is no roadmap for these times, but if you want to ease your mind, you gotta look inside. You gotta look inside. There is no roadmap for these days, but if you want to find some grace, you gotta look inside. You gotta look inside. You gotta look inside. You gotta look inside. I know your heart is crying, please, but if you want to find some peace, you gotta look inside. You gotta look inside. You gotta look inside. You gotta look inside. You look into the stars above, but you got all you need, and that is love. Look inside. You gotta look inside. You gotta look inside. You gotta look inside. Come on and look inside. You gotta look inside. Come on and look inside.
Here we are at Solstice, the end of fall, the official beginning of winter. It's the darkest time of the year when the sun has stopped its march to the south. Daylight is short, nights are very long. The days are gray, the lake black before it freezes. The color palette is reduced to black, gray, maybe white. We live in a colorless world. We yearn for clear, compassionate leadership. We have not had it. We are in the midst of a pandemic which has killed more than 290,000 people here in the United States and more than 1.5 million worldwide. Though the Dow is soaring, only about 55% of U.S. citizens are invested. Too many are living month to month, week to week, where every dollar is needed to put food on the table and pay the rent to keep a roof over our heads. We have been through another year of attention-getting tweets that have kept us engaged, feeling alive, excited, angry, the physiological fight or flight response. It's all the same to our bodies that respond with floods of adrenaline and stress hormones that cause high blood pressure. We remember last year at this time looking forward to holidays with family and friends. We remember normal until early March. Then the pandemic hit. Now here we are at Solstice. When things are really dark, I head to my art studio. I love color. I respond emotionally and physiologically to color. We all respond to color. Remember how we felt upon seeing purple crocuses popping up through snow. What a gift of color after a long winter. And their sharp little pointed leaves poking up. What joy that was. And then they were followed by daffodils, bright yellow trumpets, my mother always said they were saying, toot toot, it's spring. Then came forsythia, a riot of it, across backyards and hedgerows, along roadways, followed by bright scarlet tulips. And then in our backyards came voluminous pink peonies. Always accompanied by the little ants that helped them open. And then fruit trees in a froth of pink and white. And then gardens started producing lettuces, head lettuces, leaf lettuces, ruffly edged kale, grass that we have to pull out of the gardens, but mow on our lawns, but a green world. And then vines starting to lace everything together. And on those vines, wonderful peas. With sweet pods, sweet peas in their pods. And who can forget the big zucchinis lurking under the bushes? And red radishes. Everybody's favorite, tomatoes, juicy, fresh on the vine. How about cherry tomatoes that you can eat warm and they pop open in your mouth? Let's make that one an heirloom variety. And then I love the purple eggplant, bulbous, a darker purple hanging in our garden. Let's make that real purple. Oh yeah. And then we had a good year of orange carrots. With their feathery foliage. A riot of color, feeding body and soul. Then came the blaze of fall foliage, gold beeches, yellow birches, orange maples, and the hill hillsides vibrated with wonderful scarlet maples. Then the leaves fell, and we put our gardens to bed. Daylight became shorter. The country was more divided. We voted. The pandemic surged again, fed by hubris, poor judgment, wishful thinking, and lies. So here we are at Solstice, in the dark. Be with it. Look at the dark. In the sky, in the landscape, in your spirit, in society. Where do we want to go from here? Our memories can warm us. But people down through the ages have turned to light. Candles, fires, strings of lights, color, and creative endeavors search for truth, acts of justice, and hope, especially hope. We can turn to light at this darkest of times, physically and metaphorically. Light a fire like peoples of old. Turn toward light and hope.
So December is a month of hope, a month when we really need hope and when there are lots of ways actually of generating it, even in a hard year like this one. The thing about hope is that it's energizing, and it comes about partially because people are inspired to be generous, to give somebody else something that they need. And when you do that, and you give something that's going to make a difference in somebody's life, and then you notice that and you feel better about it, then you tell your friends who get excited about that possibility, and they give something to somebody, and then they talk about it, and it goes on from there. So it's important for us to generate hope this month, and I have 2 ways for you to do that today. The first is the Christmas breakfast, which is a 25-year tradition So Christmas morning, hundreds of people come to the community room in this building and they have breakfast and have a wonderful time. And we can't do that this year. So Lynn Douglas and some other smart people figured out how to make Christmas breakfast happen anyway. And a number of people have volunteered to make eggs and muffins and other delicious things which we'll take up to COTS, along with many pairs of warm wool socks for men, for women, and blankets and laundry bags. I need to tell you that if you go to the link that you'll find in the e-news, all of the food slots are already filled, but there are so many chances for you to be one of the people to contribute some socks or a blanket or a laundry bag, and it's not too late. You can still do it, and I hope you will. It'll make you feel good. The second thing you can do to generate hope and make yourself feel good is give to Socially Responsible Santa. We've been talking about this all month. This is the program that was developed by this society to identify people in this community who need help, and instead of trying to figure out what they need and buy it for them, we gather money and give it away directly to families that really need help at this time of year. I have some good news to share. We've been collecting for Socially Responsible Santa since December 1st. And right now, or as of a couple of days ago actually, the total that's been received through the Share the Plate on Sundays and other direct contributions is almost $4,000, $3,900 and something, which is a wonderful amount. It also happens to be the largest amount of money that has ever been collected for Socially Responsible Santa in all of the years that it has existed. Almost $4,000 now. Who knows how much it can be in another week. Today, your gifts will make a difference in the world.
Please join me in our offering dedication. With gratitude, we dedicate these gifts in the service of our mission to inspire spiritual growth, care for each other and our community, seek truth, and act for justice.
It was about 25 years ago when I was not yet a minister, but I was already helping to think about and plan services that I found this reading I'm about to share with you. It's a reading about Solstice. It's written by the Reverend Dr. Rebecca Parker, I didn't know who she was at that point either. And I didn't really know what to think about solstice then. I didn't know how to understand it as a sacred moment. This reading helped me, and I have loved it ever since. A solstice blessing. Perhaps for a moment the typewriters will stop clicking. The wheels stop rolling, the computers desist from computing, and a hush will fall over the city. For an instant, in the stillness, the chiming of the celestial spheres will be heard as Earth hangs poised in the crystalline darkness, and then gracefully tilts. Let there be a season when holiness is heard and the splendor of living is revealed. Stunned to stillness by beauty, we remember who we are and why we are here. There are inexplicable mysteries. We are not alone. In the universe there moves a wild one whose gestures alters the Earth's axis toward love. In the immense darkness, everything spins with joy. The cosmos enfolds us. We are caught in a web of stars, cradled in a swaying embrace, rocked by the holy night, babes of the universe. Let this be the time we wake to life, like spring wakes in the moment of winter solstice.
When peace like a river attendeth my way, when sorrows like sea billows roll, whatever my lot, thou hast taught me to say, it is well with my soul. It is well with my soul. With my soul. It is well. It is well with my soul. It is well. It is well with my soul.
We extinguish this flame, but not the light of truth, the warmth of community, or the fire of commitment. These we carry in our hearts and share with the world until we are together again. The benediction today is from the work of the Reverend Elizabeth Tarbox. She wrote, "We are the earthbound ones, left to keep our adventurous spirits longing and leaning, looking for the light. Keep us poised thus, dear Spirit, entrusted to the earth and moving to the poetry of the stars." Go in peace.